Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Let me introduce myself. My name is Zahwa Nailas. So now I want to explain about avoiding plagiarism using mainly in Indonesia higher education. Okay, so let's move to the first slide. Okay, here it is. Welcome to my presentation. So I will do this presentation now. Let me present about this. Okay, so in this presentation, of course, I have backgrounds of these problems. The first, as plagiarism is still a major issue in Indonesia higher education. And also the second, many students struggle to learn how to properly cite sources. And the third, mainly can help manage references and reduce plagiarism risks. As we know, we have several things that everyone can do plagiarism, so that's why Melee is one of application on one of the way how to avoid the plagiarism. Okay, so we will next to the next. Okay, so here it is. The purpose of presentation. The first to review 5 key studies on the use of Menly. So I will explain 5 articles and the way how to they describe about plagiarism and avoid it with mainly application. And then the second to identify a research gap. Of course, each articles has research gap of it. And then the third to scientize the main findings in the articles. Okay, next. The first literature. Okay, so this one, the use of mainly application to avoid plagiarism, a case study in Indonesia tertiary education. Okay, so about this study, they tell about why students still do plagiarism and how mainly helps prevent in Indonesian university. We are as students, if we will talk about laziness maybe or institutions, none others. So here in this journal, in this article, they explain about that. And the main point is this one. Low awareness, laziness, internet age, pressure, low skill, and institution. Maybe they're lazy to rate something and mainly helps prevent it. And the second, mainly supports correct citation and builds argument. And the third, tools help avoid plagiarism, but integrity is still essential. Yeah. As we know, if we want to create something or answer the question, or maybe you wanna create an article, your integrity is very essential. Of course, that mainly will help you. Okay, the next literature. This is the first. Okay, the second. The title is Exploring Mainly Best Thesis Supervision Model to Avoid Plagiarism. This article from 2022 and about the study. This study explored a mainly best thesis supervision model to help students avoid plagiarism. Again and again, that mainly help the students to avoid plagiarism. And the main point is focus topic selection, reference management, reference validation, idea citation, and matching. And then the method that they use is qualitative case study with 4 EFL lectures. And the data, like semi-structured interview, it's not really interview, but it's still they do interview. And then findings. Supervisors deal with the varied plagiarism related issue in all four stages. Okay, so the next one. Okay, so number third. Information literacy programs to minimize plagiarism. Case study in Tun Abdul Razak UITM Malaysia Library and Universitas Airlangga Library Indonesia. So they compare and then they combined about Malaysia Library and Universitas Airlangga. So the purpose of this study is this article describe how to UITM Malaysia and Universitas Airlangga Indonesia deliver information literacy and plagiarism prevention program. And also, this one explain information literacy and plagiarism prevention program at UITM and UNEP. How about the method? The method that they used is qualitative case study. Of course, about the data, they use interviews with librarians. So if there is someone visits the library, so they will do interview with that to collect the data, but include in knowledge proficiency class. And then the main function of it support student and prevent plagiarism in academic writing. Okay, the next, the fourth literature. The title is A Survey Research What is the Role of the Mental Application in the Student Environment. This application is very beneficial for the student because they can help and as the role of student environment. This article published 2024. Okay, so the purpose of the study and the main point. This research aimed to survey the role and use of the Mendeley application amongst students. So they describe about the role or how to use the Mendeley application among the students. Okay, how about the method? The method, they survey research with final year students. So before graduating from that school, so they research first. And the data, like questionnaires via Google Form. So from Google Form, they collect the data and analysis describes statistic findings. Others still struggle or do not understand how to use it. Okay, so several students cannot use about many application just because they don't understand of it. Okay, next. Number 5. Mainly software training in improving the quality of scientific articles for private higher education lectures. Okay, so here it is the purpose of the article. This article explains how reference manager tools like Mendeley help reduce plagiarism in an academic and writing. The problem is plagiarism often occurs when students don't use reference managers. They don't look for the reference for others like this copy paste. So with this with this way we can use mainly to help. Okay, so how about the aim? Show how mainly supports correction citation and reduce plagiarism. How the purpose? The purpose to support the student to avoid plagiarism and reduce it. Mainly helps manage reference and create citations and training improvement students' knowledge and skill. Some students still struggle to install or fully use Mendeley. So in here, articles, they explain, they describe about the struggle of the students, how to use Mendeley applications, and also re reducing plagiarism. Uh, we can use this application. Okay, so for the program stage, preparation, implementation, and evaluation. So they describe all of the preparation, implementation, and evaluation in this article. There are 5 articles that I can explain. and then the main point, several main points of these articles, and the way how to explain, describe about mainly application to avoid plagiarism. So here it is, the scientist of the article. Okay, so the first is students still face plagiarism problems. As we know, we can't like directly cut off the plagiarism problems, but we still can face that one. How to reduce it? We use mainly application. The second mainly helps manage references and avoid plagiarism. The third, training and supervision improves student skill. Okay, so here it is. If you do plagiarism, maybe you are lazy to do it. So, how to avoid it? You have to look for it. You have to know the references, a lot of references from another articles or another subject, another knowledge that you can use. You cannot directly create by yourself. So you have to research is first, and then do deep research. Okay, so the fourth, many students still struggle to use mainly fully. Yeah, maybe about like their knowledge how to use the mainly applications, so they still struggle to do it. Okay, the last institutions support plagiarism prevention through programs and classes. Yeah, institutions support plagiarism. So if they do in the some institutions, so they can still like they can know, they can see how to create that one. So institutions support plagiarism. Okay, so now research gaps. Okay, here J1, it's mean journal one. So the first journal, as you can see here, number one, no evidence of real mainly effectiveness on the master student. So the study explored modifies and perspectives, but did not test in the actual effectiveness of mainly in real writing situation. And it's also focused on master students only, not graduates or other disciplines. Okay, G2, journal 2. Here, they talk about small sample and the impact on students' writing test. The study only involved 4 lectures, so it lacks a broader generalization. Okay, so it examined supervision models conceptually, but not how these models affect students' real writing outcomes. Okay, so the third journal program described not evaluated limited to universities. So they compare about the plagiarism in the library literacy programs. Okay, so the study focused on program description, but does not measure how effective these programs are in reduction plagiarism. So they didn't tell about the way how to reduce plagiarism. It only compares to universities. Result cannot be generalized to other institutions in Indonesia or Malaysia. Okay, so the fourth does not explain why students struggle, not no impact analysis. Okay, so the study only reveals students' level of understanding, but not why they struggle, and it does not analyze the impact of mainly skills on plagiarism reduction. And the last is a long-term evaluation, writing quality not measured. Also, the study shows improvement, like after training, but does not examine long-term use of mainly, and it does not explore student actual writing performance after day training. So here it is about the research gap for each journal, each article. So the way how can avoid, how can describe the articles with mainly application. So there are several likeness and also disadvantages and the way how to scientize I have explained before this research camp. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, so thank you very much, ma'am. I hope that it can answer your question and I do apologize if I have mistake. Thank you so much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.